Perfect timing.
All right, we are going live now. All right, what's up, everybody? I am here with Count Miles, or the Count of S. I'll let him introduce himself in a minute, but some of you may have seen me retweet some of his work on Twitter. I won't talk more about his work than he can talk about it, but I will say his work is the kind of stuff that when I look at it, it makes me want to make like little explosion and war noises and stuff. And on top of that, it sounds like he's led a very interesting life. So, Count Miles, is that all right if I call you that?
Yeah, that's fine. All right, like the
cool.
Count of S, it's supposed to be for the Count of Southampton. I dropped the Southampton because I don't know. I just felt like S sounded a little bit cooler.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But you can just call me Miles for the interview. I don't mind.
Right, cool.
My identity's no secret. It's really easy to find me. So no sense hiding. But yeah, I think I'm a big military sci-fi nerd. And then one thing I think is so weird is like I've always been into like the nitty-gritty details of things. Like I like the lore and stuff like that for even like stuff like Halo. I know all the numeric designations for the weapons and stuff. But at the same time, I just love crushing beers too. So
nice.
Balance in all things.
So you live in Bermuda. Have you grown up there all your life?
Yeah, I grew up in Bermuda. I spent 5 years in the States for college, and then came back to Bermuda in 2017. And it's been a roller coaster because I went to art school, but when I got back to Bermuda, I actually fell into corporate work.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I wanted to buy an iPad, right? So I applied for a job selling cell phones, and what was awful, right, is I wanted the like really easy retail job. They end up hearing me speak, so they decide to put me in a call center, which was like miserable.
Oh, but no.
One day the CEO's actually walking around the call center floor. He overhears me and he's like, "Yo, bump that guy up to corporate. Like we can't have someone like that in a call center." So yeah, like my life changed overnight. It was a really good gig. But I remember one day I came into the office wearing my suit and tie and stuff, and I was like, man, my hairline is gone missing. I was like, I need a less stressful job.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I ended up jumping over to working in a museum and doing like some freelance art on the side. And I got fired from that job because I used to bring girls into the museum to like show them all the exhibits at night. And one time I was like leaving with like this girl in my arms, and I got caught by the CEO. But to be honest, they didn't put that like. Here's a funny story, right? So I'm in the office, and the CEO's like, we're gonna let you go because you've had 3 strikes. So I was like, well, what's my 3 strikes? She's like, you took the postal key to Dubai, and I was like, yeah, I was like I brought it back. Like, you got. She's like, how are we supposed to get our mail? And I was like, go ask for it. Like, no one's trying to steal this museum's mail. Like, you just ask the post. Like, it's Bermuda. Like, the post office is like the same person. Like, you know the person. So anyways, she was like, the second strike was, dude, I lost this like tour guide headset because like I never used to use it. I used to just project my voice. Yeah. So like one day I just like put it down and just forgot where I put it. I swear to God, it's still in the museum. Like, I feel like if I just went there, I would find it. And then like the third one was I actually trained one of my coworkers' sons to turn off all the exhibits. So I would just like chill on the computer, and like he was like really excited to do it. So I was like, all right, cool. Like, I'm not gonna pass up free labor. But they're like, yo, this is like a breach of our insurance. Like, it's a huge liability. So anyways, that aside, I jumped back into corporate, and I'm there at the end of my contract, and this basically is a coverall story, really, like the whole origin story. I go back into corporate. I'm working for the rival telecom company that I got hired initially.
Can I pause you for just 1 second? There's some kind of mic noise coming through. I think your mic might be rubbing against a zipper or something. Is there any way to? That's perfect. That's perfect. Can you do that?
All right. Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much. Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Yeah. No worries. So I'm back in corporate and I'm miserable again. And then that's actually where I kind of got into Twitter because I think a lot of the drawings and stuff, my Twitter presence, it's just me in this office killing time on Twitter. Because
Yeah.
like I was a consultant for a project that basically needed no consultants, but they hired one just to be safe. So like I would just kind of pop out of my office just to make sure everything was all right, and then pout back in. So it was like cool because it was like free money, but it was boring. And then finally, how I got into sailing is a friend of mine's like, oh, you're killing yourself in this office. Like, I say he had been sailing for a year. He's like, yo, you should just join our crew. We'd love to have you. And we're out drinking, right? And I'm like, yo, dude, if the boss of your crew, because he's like a really cool guy, like the captain I work for is like the boat captain on the island, right? So I was like, no way they'd want me on the crew, right? Like my best friend who works on the crew, he's like the coolest possible guy, right? Looks like Henry Cavill, right? So he's like, dude, you please, so I was like, yeah, if the captain says he needs me on the crew, and I was saying this to kind of like stomp it out, where I'm like, no way he's gonna say something, right? He's like, if he needs me on the crew, says something, I'll join, right? Dude, this guy was behind me at the bar, and he's like, yo, come Sunday. And yeah. So it was a bit of a Christmas miracle. And yeah, now I've been sailing for a couple months now. I did my second cross Atlantic voyage.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So does your sailing does that like influence your artwork in any way? Or I mean, we haven't touched on it yet, but I mean, imagine your military experience does too.
Yeah, it definitely does. Like the Bermuda regiments, like if Wes Anderson had a military, like it's really, really funny. We're about like 400 individuals, and dude, I think like the silliest deployment we've had is we've been like sent out to like we had a fake like a training fake Russian invasion, and like this is really funny. Yeah, we were like, that's what we were training for, and they're like, yo, like who's gonna be like the opposing force, which we're supposed to be Spetsnaz, right? And it's like just chaos because we've never had this many blanks and teabags and stuff. Everyone's like going off like Rambo, and like the top brass got so upset with everyone. But yeah,
I know exactly what you're describing. That kind of thing where it just devolves into a bunch of grown ass men just playing cowboys and Indians, cops and robbers.
It's just pandemonium on the beach. And what's even funnier is they didn't even clear out the beach, so there's like tourists on the beach thinking there's like a full-blown war going on. So yeah, it's just like muzzle flashes and like tea bangs and stuff. So we have to like go get them after the sergeant major was like he like told everyone to stop, and then yeah, we went and collected everyone and got them off the beach. But yeah, in terms of like how it influences my art, like I'd say one, like it's why I think I try to chase as much experiences as possible, because like once you do it, you have a reference for it. So like this stuff I would never do again, but I'm glad I did it just because I have a reference for it.
I totally know that feeling.
Yeah.
What's some of the stuff you would never do again, but you're glad you have a reference for? Also, if you can hold your mic out one more time.
Yeah. Sorry
to be like a nitpick or anything. I just want to make sure people can hear you.
That's fine. All right. So one thing that marks me out on the crew, which is really funny, is I hate cliff jumping. Like when I was a boy, right? We climbed up this cliff. It's like me and my brother and his friends, and I'm like maybe 12. So we get to like the top of this cliff, and my brother says like a really like impatient like, hey, let's go, right? Like, and I thought he meant like hurry up and jump, so I just jumped off the cliff, and they were like, yo, what the hell? Like your brother just jumped, right? So I remember this cliff being so big that I was falling, and I remember thinking to myself, because I had my eyes closed, I'm like, yo, when am I gonna hit the water? And I hit the water so hard. Gosh. Yeah, I couldn't feel my legs. Like I swam back into shore. I'm like crying and stuff. My one of my school teachers was like running the summer camp. I remember he's like chasing my brother and his friends to beat him up. Like, this is just Bermuda, right? He's like, you varmints, like did you toss your brother off this cliff? So like that, I hate cliff jumping, right? So to get my job, right? he's like, yo, we have to get you as drunk as possible, and then you have to jump off a cliff, right? So I hear that, and I'm like, this is the worst, like my least favorite initiation ever. Like, I can't believe this, right? So I climb up to the cliff, and I'm like, fuck it, like how am I gonna get this done, right? Um, people are like kind of cheering me on and stuff. I'm like walking up this cliff, and this is like, we call it shack. It's like a super high one, and finally in my head, like this is why I really dig my nerd side at times. I was like, yo, like, you know, in like Halo Combat Evolved, where like Chief jumps from the Covenant ship into like that pool of coolant.
Yeah.
And it's like a pretty big jump. I was like, this is the closest I'll get to that experience. So I just jumped with that in my head, and like it still wasn't pleasant, but at the same time, like that's one thing I like about doing shit like that, because now if I were to draw someone doing a big jump or everything, like I know what inertia feels and looks like, and like
right.
Yeah, like I feel like a lot of like, you watch superhero films where like they land on the ground and they kind of like splay their
they do that thing
out.
where they kind of like crouch and they put their fist down and then they look up and they look really cool. I'm so sick of it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's horseshit.
Yeah.
I mean, like, gosh, we were doing like sorry, so like my biggest weakness is I will trail on to story for story. So like, if you want to change the subject or get me focused again, just let me know.
No problem. Let me tell something to the chat though. If any of you guys have any questions for Miles, just post them in the chat and I'll read them up. I'll put them on the screen or whatever, because I'm sure some of you will have them. I did want to ask, so a common thing that I see in your artwork is huge crowds of combat going on. Usually it's not focused in as much on like just one or two main characters. Like there's like scenes going on within each scene. Like it's like it's like what I would feel as a kid when I looked at Warhammer 40K art, you know?
Yeah.
So what kind of pulled you towards that as opposed to the more, I don't know, like AAA concept art game or game concept art kind of look where it's, you know, it's all focused in on just
like personal stories.
Yeah. I mean, there's a little bit of that in there, but I noticed you like to do like the big, huge, like Japanese model box art kind of look, you know?
Yeah.
Like what got you into that?
So to be honest, like when I was a kid, I would spend hours on YouTube just looking up like battle scenes, right?
Yeah.
Like and one thing that used to like really kill me is like my favorite scenes to watch are only like 2 or 3 minutes, if that. Like some of them are like seconds. Like the Terminator Future War scene is like,
oh yeah,
like
I love that
2
as
minutes.
a kid.
So like I find with like a drawing, you can kind of extend that experience for a lot longer. Because it's like a static image, so you can like cram as much content in it, so you can like stare at something for a little more than say 2 minutes, right?
Yeah.
It's like that's what brought me to like the huge crowd scenes,
right?
Or like putting tons of like story details in it, because like it's almost like I want people to get more of an experience from the art. Like I feel like a lot of modern concept art is they want to give you as efficient information transfer as possible. Like you look at it instantly and you're like, bang, this is going on, and that's it. So it's like some huge environment with like a tiny person in it.
Yeah,
or
I know.
It's like a duel going on. So like I wanted to kind of do the opposite of that, where you look at it and you're like squinting your eyes at this, just being like, holy shit. Or even like coming back to something like that and seeing something you didn't notice before.
Yeah, I love that. That's what I really dig. Like there was a long time where it's weird because when I was a little kid, you know, and I couldn't really draw. I would just do like stick figure battles, you know, and they would just be like these huge sprawling stick figure battles with all these little different scenes going on and stuff. And then when I started, you know, learning how to properly draw in my late teens, you know, then I kind of pushed that away and made it really character focused or like single or maybe 2 subject focused or something. And then I don't know, it was only, I honestly think after drawing all these years, it was only within like maybe the past 2 years, I think, that I really started getting interested in that kind of maximalism and bombasticness or something after I kind of let myself, you know, really, really get back into Warhammer 40K and stuff like that. Oh, we got a
Yeah.
question for you. Let me show it up on the screen here. Art Tech asks, what's Count Miles' tools of choice, both traditional and digital drawing?
All right. So typically like this Master Chief drawing right here is 100% digital. I did that on an iPad.
Okay.
And but what I try to do the most though is I'll use like a Pilot G2 pen. Like I use like really Philistine like stationery store stuff, and I'll like I'll ink it out, and then like I'm not one for penciling. A lot of these I just start at one corner of the page and I just go like over to the other side.
Oh, I do the exact same thing.
Yeah. So then I'll color and correct digitally on my iPad. I'll take a picture. I'll edit it so it looks like flat and correctly contrasted, and then I'll go in and color it. And then it's those two methods.
Yeah.
Inking traditionally, coloring digitally, or just everything digital.
Nice. If any of you are watching and you're not on a big screen right now, like if you're just listening on mobile, like you got to look at this stream later on a good, proper big screen and just zoom in on, like, I'm going to move the mouse cursor here a little bit, but like in the upper left corner here, like there's some ships like screaming out of the sky towards this burning skyscraper. And I don't know, like I love how you tuck all these little stories within other stories in there. Like, I don't know, we need more of that. Like a really good painter that you all should check out, Colonel Charles Waterhouse. I don't know if you're familiar with him at all, but he does, I think he passed away like, I don't know, sometime in the past 10 years or something, but he does a lot of stuff like this, where it's like your eye starts at one end of the painting and you just slowly work your way over and then back and then down and up. And there's just so much going on in composition. It's not even about the composition. It's about just how much stuff you can cram in there and have it flow in a pleasing way.
Yeah. There's like, gosh. All right. So like one thing that I'm really influenced by as well is I don't like the popular mainstream tastes relationship with pulp stuff.
Really? Like, yeah. How so?
So like okay, like I'll take Halo for example, right? Dude, I really dug Halo because it was like the pulp military sci-fi franchise. Like,
yeah,
it does have like a good like sense of lore and like a really good universe and stuff. But like at the end of the day, it's just about shooting aliens. Like,
right.
And there's just nothing wrong with that because they try to contextualize shooting aliens in like the most fun ways, right? Like, be it you're on Earth or you're fighting through an alien ship, or even like when you're fighting the Flood. Like, I dug it because it's very simplistic, but it like caters to almost like the reptile part of your brain. You're just having fun. But then like Halo 4 comes out, and all of a sudden they're trying to like they don't want to be a pulp franchise. They want to be like extremely deep and nuanced and thought out.
They're trying to Band of Brothers it up or something, or
not even like not even like Band of Brothers. Like they give like an essentially a Doom guy clone like feelings. And I'm like,
no.
I'm like, dude, this guy's like a badass. He's watched guys get melted in half, and he's getting upset over like an iPhone. Like, yeah, I was like, dude, this is what happens when like Bungie had like ex-Marines in their staff. They're all like grown ass men, but like you can tell that nerds started writing the franchise because they're like, oh, like how does Master Chief feel about this shit? Whereas like, you know, Bungie's like, Master Chief doesn't give a fuck. He's like a super soldier.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, so like that's something I wanted to bring into my art is like just that unadulterated fun. Like there is a story to it. If you ask me, I'm sure I'd make some lore up for you on the spot. Like I always try to upload some drawings with like a written prompt. But at the same time, like, dude, I know that some people just want to cut loose and look at art. Like, I don't know why they like so much games and fictions try to give you a second job. Like you got to understand all this stuff, or you got to do all this grinding. Like, you know, it's playtime. You're there to relax. You're there to have a good time.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, I know. And that's in those prompts and stuff. Like sometimes I'll see you post on Twitter. Like there'll be like a sentence or two blurb or something alongside it that doesn't tell you too much, but it gives you enough for your imagination to run with it. Like how's like what I found interesting was like I found you originally because I saw you were posting art, and then I saw that you were also followed by a lot of like, esoteric tropical bodybuilder type guys, and
Yeah.
our mutual buddy Sam Hyde and stuff. Like, have you gotten much like of a niche or something on Twitter yet, or have you noticed any kind of special audience that's like really, really, really into just what you do, as opposed to like the usual, like, I don't know, the popular art station stuff? Have you cracked that yet?
To be candid, like I think I saw like that's a good question, because I haven't given it much thought. But one thing, like, I'll definitely say is, like, I really admire like the Bronze Age pervert book. Like I thought that was a really cool book.
Yeah.
It was like a really refreshing read, because it genuinely, like, there's a lot of grievances, I think, that like I got into it when I was like working in an office. So like, I wanted
And
to
you're
cut
living
loose.
and you're living in the tropics. Like,
Yeah. So one thing I really enjoy now is, like, I have the lifestyle that they they told everyone to seek. Like, I'm sailing in a subtropical island, surrounded by babes, crushing beers. Unfortunately, I don't really get time to lift, but sailing's hard enough work. Like, there's an 800
I mean,
pound sail.
you look pretty lean.
Yeah, so it's cool to be able to like read that stuff and like genuinely relate to it. I think to be honest, because I live in Bermuda, like, a lot of the nationalist stuff, like, it just doesn't apply to me. So
Yeah,
I can't say I can. Go
right.
ahead.
I was gonna say, like, your artwork does channel that kind of like that energy, that I don't know, that thumos or something that definitely is there, and the whole like just ham-fisted, like, I don't know, bro action kind of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it all comes together like really, really nicely to me. Also, I got a question from Art Tech. I think you maybe kind of semi-answered this before, but Art Tech asks, oh, here, let me put it up on the screen. What software do you use for digital drawing for the iPad, and why that software?
All right. So I use Procreate, and genuinely, something like, before I used Procreate, I used an older version of Open Canvas. I downloaded illegally. So one thing I like about programs that have limited features is you get a little bit more creative if it comes to like creating brushes or even like producing effects. So Procreate now, in its contemporary form, is really comprehensive. Like, they have a lot of good features on it and stuff.
Yeah.
But when I first downloaded it, it was kind of bare bones, which I enjoyed. But it's a good time. Like, I'd say, yeah, Procreate.
Yeah, I like it too. I mean, I did about 250 pages of comics in Procreate. It was all just pencil, but it's a solid program, and it's cheap. So if any of you out there are wondering, if it's worth it to get an iPad and Procreate, I would say so personally.
Dude, another thing too is, like, hey, babes dig the iPad and the drawing stuff. Like, oh my God. Like, I think half of it too is
you get
like,
get a lot of attention looking over your shoulder.
Oh, dude, like, this is probably the most I guess encompassing story I have in regards to it. Like, I'm at this party, right? And I see this girl, Katie. I haven't seen her like since high school, right? And like, smoking hot. And dude, like, screw it, right? I look like a dog, but hey, like, dogs are cute too. So I walk up, right, and I'm like, yo, Katie, like, long time no see. Like, how's it going, right? Dude, she looks at me and like literally just ignores me. So I was like, all right, like, so I was like, screw it, right? Like, I'm known to be like drawing at parties and stuff. So like, my friends, like, if I'm drawing, like, they'll come over and drink and like talk with me and stuff. But like, when I'm drawing, I want my space. Like, I am kind of introverted. So I just whip out my sketchbook and I just go to scout. We're on a balcony, right? It's a really good scene. So I'm gonna like sketching like a still life, right? She looks over my shoulder and she goes, "Oh my God, now I'm interested," and sits down next to me. So I was like really really, but at the same time, like, do I'm gonna say no? Like, of course, and then start talking. So it's genuinely a blast there. I think what's even funnier is like hey, all the guys on my crew are smart guys, but they are knuckleheads. So like the thing I like is drawing stuff that they can immediately appreciate. So like they'll see like any type of dude bro I meet, instant friends if they see my art, right? And then like on top of that too is like I can kill a game of beer pong. So like an artist in all things. Like
so what's your favorite drink?
Okay, so I am
going to be a loaded one.
Yeah, I am notorious for drinking this Barbados rum called Cockspur. Like
I don't think I've heard of that.
I don't drink it anymore just because like all my most famous benders have been off of the Dirty Bird. It's like got this chicken on the front, a rooster on the front, and it actually tastes pretty bad. But I don't know why I just got into it. Like that was just my drink, right? So like people,
is it kind of a cheaper rum or is it a nicer one?
No, it's like mid level. Like if you're in the States, it will be expensive because it's imported. But in Bermuda, it's like a mid level rum. And like the thing I used to kind of laugh at is it was too strong for my college friends to drink. So like it was a really good character thing where it's like, you know, the Bermudian drinker, like, you know, this stuff's not for kids, Junior. So oh my God. I think yeah. So now though, my favorite drink is gin, which is like just as dangerous. But like I've had the best night clubbing of my life off of gin. So whenever I drink gin, I just feel like I channel that energy.
So I mean, you mentioned nightclubs and stuff, which I imagine Bermuda has quite a bit of. How do you, and you mentioned to me that it's also the most expensive place to live. Like, obviously, you don't have to tell me all the secrets about your living situation stuff, but what's it like? I mean, living and growing up somewhere where, I don't know, you're either really, really freaking poor or like Jeffrey Epstein levels of rich.
So I'll definitely say it's been like a pretty insane experience. Like I think I owe my personality and then a lot of like my success in terms of like art and business from growing up in Bermuda. Like I was from a comfortably middle class family. However, like, you know, this is kind of funny. Like just recently, I found out that one of like my close friends that she's a billionaire because a friend of mine started working for her father. So like it made total sense. Like wow, but like they live like not extravagantly, but like you can tell all the stuff's really nice. But like they're really smart with their money. Like So all right, like for example, what I thought was really funny, she hit me up and was like, yo, my dad had like a midlife crisis. You want to come over and I'll show you what he bought, right? I go down there, think it's like a home theater or something crazy. Dude, we go out on our boat and it's underwater jet skis. But like
what?
Yeah, it's not like the normie like ones you would find on Amazon. Like these are like military grade, like what the Navy SEALs use.
Like James Bond level stuff.
Like rockets. Like
holy crap.
Yeah. Like you could go easily like 60 kilometers an hour underwater. But like if you go that fast, you can't hold on. Like you will get thrown off. So you have to like kind of be like, you can't go like absurd with it. Like what we started doing is like going down to the bottom and then like shooting all the way up and you like fly out of the water like a dolphin. But yeah, like Bermuda was like really, really weird like that. So like, cause I had friends that are like comfortably really wealthy or like extremely wealthy. They'd kind of invite me out to things. So I think it's really funny because I never look the part, but they love having me at events and whatnot. Like any sort of black tie gala event, like I'm your go-to guest. Like just for, and like I've just gone to enough of them to where like I genuinely know how to act there. And then like I guess it feels like Lady and the Tramp. Like, you know, there's like a novelty to middle class Bermuda guy in like this super high class party. Also because it's like super isolated. I like it's almost like you live in a cultural bubble. So like when I went to college, I was drinking in a bar, and I'm like just yelling at the bar, telling stories, like got some listeners and stuff, but just having a good hoot, buying rounds and stuff. So the bartender's like, polishing his glass, laughing, and he's like, "Hey, can I see your ID?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no problem." Dude, I'm 17, and I just hand him the ID, and he's like, "Bro, you're supposed to be 21 in the States." So I was I was like, "Oh, okay." Like I like everyone was just like, "Oh, like this guy's a kid." Like so I just like gracefully exited. Like I was like, "Oh my God, sorry."
I think I kind of know what you mean by like living in that bubble. Like, although I mean, I grew up like in a really, really rural part of California. Like I'm out like there's nothing but abandoned mines, orange trees, Indian reservation, and cactus where I'm at. So for me, like even just like moving to the city was such a huge shock for me, and it still is weird to me. But the one time that I went to Hawaii, I was astounded at what people called island time. You probably know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, dude.
Where it's like you go there and it's just like, it's like as soon as you get off the plane, like you've stepped into a fairy ring and all the time passage in the rest of the world is completely disconnected from where you're at. And like, and you run into these people who, they'll say like, yeah, I grew up in Alabama, or, oh, I used to be a yuppie in Silicon Valley, or I was a lumberjack in Montana or something like that. And you're like, but you're just out here. You're just like, sanding boats and doing tours and stuff, and they'll tell you like, yeah, I just sort of, I didn't really have a return flight planned, and I guess I'm here now. And I'm like,
yeah,
man, and these are people who've been doing it for years. Is that kind of characteristic of Bermuda too?
So Bermuda's like really, really nice. Like I think one thing people will be shocked about is for a Caribbean island, we're the most first world Caribbean island. Like it's like night and day. It's almost not comparable. If you see, because we're actually quite far away from the Caribbean. We're about like a couple 100 miles, maybe even 1,000 miles from the closest Caribbean island. We're closer to the States than the Caribbean.
Yeah.
And the infrastructure here is like superb. Like it's genuinely like when people step off the plane, they expect Jamaica, but like they get someplace that's closer to Singapore. So yeah, so like you can't. It's a strict immigration policy here. Like you couldn't buy a one-way ticket here if you were a foreigner. So you do get a lot of foreigners like coming through to work or like their families and stuff. Like a lot of my friends are expats. So it is like and then that's why it's like so expensive. It's like the price of paradise, because like if you want a Caribbean island that like looks the part, but at the same time like there's no donkeys walking around in the street, like you got to pay up.
Yeah. Are there at least chickens wandering around though?
Oh yeah. We have some chickens, but like the feral cats eat them all. Like,
oh, that's a bummer. That's one thing I loved about Kauai, were the chickens everywhere. Like I don't know. I found it relaxing. It's like you're living in a giant petting zoo or something. I think we got a question, another one from Art Tech. What is your favorite piece you made, either digitally or traditionally?
All right, so it might come up again in the slideshow, but there's one of I
can scroll through if you want.
Yeah, there's one of guys fighting in a trench, and there's like a big robot and a dragon and stuff like that in it.
Oh, this one.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys have heard of Vyvanse. It's like a focusing drug. Like I had a roommate who had the highest.
Yeah, the VA wanted to put me on that.
Yeah, I had a roommate who took the highest dosage of Vyvanse, but he didn't like it. So one day I was like, "Hey, can I try some?" And he was like, "Yeah, like, but only take one." So naturally, I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna take two if he's telling me take one." So I hit two, and I like at first, it's not hitting me, but then immediately I just run into the one of the study halls. I get like a piece of cardboard out, and like I draw something that has nothing to do with any of my courses. Like I just spent 56 hours awake, standing up, inking inking it, drawing it, and then color it on a computer, and then I pass out. And I was like, whoa, like that's no joke. Like I see why you said only take one. Like
Oh,
So,
I mean, this,
so
I can see why this is your favorite. I mean, the level of gear detail and just the amount of story going on is incredible to me. I didn't even notice it until just now, but in the upper left corner, there's like, looks like some, I don't know, dude conjuring up elemental force or something. And he's zapping, like blowing up these jets going after him. Like I didn't even
yeah,
notice that when I first looked at it. Like I thought like, oh, it's a kaiju battle or something like that. Now I'm seeing all this other hidden stuff tucked away in there. Like, I mean, that's why, again, that's what I love about your work. I'm also
thank you.
noticing, so what looks like mecha, I'm pretty sure that's mecha. I know that you're very into Gundam. What do you like about
Yeah.
Gundam?
Okay, like
Gundam
genuinely,
pill
like,
me.
one thing I love about Gundam is like it is the best like World War II fan fiction ever written. Like the guy Tamino, he
Mm-hmm.
did his homework on World War II and made like the ultimate space World War II. Because like the thing I love is like mobile suits have like the same kind of design lineage of tanks.
Yeah.
The like tactics and like treaties and stuff are like such good parallels. Like I think there's this guy General Revel, which is like the Churchill of the Gundam universe. He has
Mm-hmm.
this speech that's like Zeon is exhausted, like the our federation's considering surrender,
Mm-hmm.
and they break him out of imprisonment. Like special forces get him out, and he like goes on broadcast to basically be like, yo, like don't trust politicians and don't trust Zeon's promises of peace. Like we have to fight him. And like
Wow.
it's such a good like it's a really cool discourse on World War II because like Xeon aren't Nazis, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like you can sympathize a little more with them, and it's all right to think Xeon stuff is cool. Like I feel like World War II is such a touchy subject because like
Yeah.
Nazis are unilateral bad guys. Like
Right.
even to like I always I never like squinted my eyes at people who genuinely like German militaria. Like you know that's just shit they like. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure that they're not going to be an actual Nazi, but like an MG42 looks cool, dude. Like it looks
Mm-hmm.
really cool. So that's one thing I like about Gundam is like if you're feeling like World War II fiction but not World War II, like
Yeah.
Universal Century Gundam is like the Origin just came out or like didn't just come out, like recently finished, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like this is some Gundam fans might chew me out because people don't like the Origin because it retcons a lot. Um, but it's the manga as well as the anime are like a really cool entry point into the franchise.
Nice.
Like there's a really good like scope of history. Like Char Aznavour, he's like the antagonist, but like he is like the coolest iteration of like the German officer bad guy.
Yeah.
Like
Which is a fun archetype. Like you've probably watched Legend of the Galactic Heroes as well, right?
oh dude, that's my favorite anime all time.
I still
That
need to get through it. I think I'm only like 20 episodes in out of I don't know how many hundreds, but I'm
I,
loving it. Just that whole genre, that operatic genre of just handsome boys in space, like, you know,
yeah,
like waging tremendous battles against each other. And when they vanquish one of their foes, they like shed a tear. And it's just, it's beautiful.
dude. Like one thing I'll definitely say with like Legend of Galactic Heroes is the show is like reading a book,
Mm-hmm.
and the show actually gets more budget as the series progresses. So, but like season 4 looks like a OVA, like almost like a movie.
Yeah.
Um, so it's hard to get people into the series because it is a bit of a slog in the beginning. But like genuinely, I would say that's my favorite anime. I recommend that to anyone who has an interest in anime or just war fiction. Because
Nice.
the thing I love is like it is very like operatic and dramatic, like Pretty Boys in Space. But
Yeah.
then as like the wars and stuff fizzle out, like dude, some of the discourse gets like so cleverly written. Like
Mm-hmm.
like there's characters who are dicks who like get rationalized, and then you're like, wow, like that guy was right the whole time. Or
Nice.
like I think like my favorite one um is there's like this guy who's like the sleaziest bad guy. He's like an intelligence dude, right? He's always doing all these backwoods things. So like they finally execute him for treason. It's like so cathartic, but they're going through his accounts post-mortem, and it turns out he's like this wonderful wholesome guy who's just like a little too good at his job. Like
Mm,
no one trusted him because he was like that intelligence guy, but like he had
right.
everyone's back in the end. He would like even the bonuses he got from like the government, he would donate to education like to public schools and stuff. Like
Nice.
it's like the complete like turnaround where I'm like, oh my god, like you feel so bad that they executed him, right? But like
Oh man.
it's a really good show in terms of addressing like bloodlust in fiction.
Mm-hmm.
Like you really go in being like kill them all, and you really leave like, oh my god, like I wish no one died.
Yeah. Got a question from Kobo Gub, who, I mean, we've probably been dancing around this subject already, but he asks, what gets your inspiration gears running? So yeah, like what do you do if you're creatively dried out and you need to recharge your idea batteries?
Genuinely, I would say I go on like huge benders. So like I went to Bali for a month, and like, dude, I will party. I'll like get drunk and wasted as hell. But like the thing I like about doing that is when I'm drunk, I'll talk to people. Like I think it's really funny where you'll ask someone at the bar and be like, yo, like tell me like what your genuine like fantasy is. Like if you could be like an adventurer, like what would you do?
Yeah.
And some of them are actually like really creative. So yeah, I'd say I just go on benders. Or
nice. I used to do that. Not anymore.
Yeah, it gets harder. It gets harder because nowadays I would say it's just reading. Like I read about 6 books at a time, a chapter of each a day.
Nice.
Yeah, it's.
But what's currently on? What are you currently reading?
So right now I got Count of Monte Cristo, Nikolai Gogol's The Overcoat, Georges Burgess' Labyrinths, Gene Wolfe's Litany of the Long Sun.
Oh, I just started reading Shadow of the Torturer.
That's my favorite book series of all time, dude.
It kept popping up for years, and I never got into it. I just kept walking by it. But all the people I know who are like into Dune and just like really high quality, that esoteric sort of fiction, like kept recommending it. Like
genuinely, my only gripe with it is it like really killed the fantasy genre for me.
Really?
Because Gene Wolfe, right? He's a Korean War vet. He used to be an amateur boxer, and he grew up in poverty. So he has like this, like the stuff he's able to do in his fiction comes from his life experience. So like now when I pick up a fantasy book, you can tell when a nerd has written this stuff. Like I was reading like Way of Kings, and you know Brandon Sanderson's a big dork because like he's just like making stuff up like. Dude, this is like one of the funniest things that about Way of Kings that killed me was like they mentioned like sky eels, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm intrigued. Like I wonder what like a sky eel is. And then they have like a drawing later on the book, and like this is where I put the book down. Like it's literally a sky eel, like an eel with wings.
Yeah.
And I was like, come on, like this. Whereas like Gene Wolfe will be like none of his stuff is made up. Like I think that's like the craziest part. Like if you look up every single word, it has like some crazy esoteric meaning. So like I read Mercenaries of the Hellenistic World.
Yeah.
And it contextualized the battle scenes so much more because like you get a good sense of like where he was inspired for the battle scenes. And even stuff like a lammergeier, like I had no idea what a lammergeier is, but like that's a bearded vulture. But like he calls it a lammergeier in the book. So like you think it's like a fictional bird, but once you know it's a lammergeier, like it makes way more visual sense. Like you can visualize everything very well.
Another thing about Gene Wolfe, and I only found out about this kind of recently after I bought his book for his first book. He was an extremely devout Roman Catholic, and unfortunately, he passed away on the day that the Notre Dame Cathedral caught fire. But
terrible day.
Yeah, I know, right? So I wanted to ask, what are your spiritual, religious beliefs? How would you characterize that? Because I've seen you talk a little bit about it on Twitter. Like, I saw you talking about Kanye, like how a lot of like people were turning their nose up at him, thinking like his conversion wasn't sincere because he did some bad stuff in the past, so therefore you can't be a true Christian now. Which I thought that was dumb. But anyways, go ahead.
I'm a through and through Christian. Like I was brought up that way. I did go through like an edgy atheist phase. Yeah. But like anyone, like my go-to thing when I'm at the bar, like people always kind of bring that up when I'm out drinking, like because everyone knows I'm like the Christian out of our group of friends. So my go-to is like, yo, until you've crossed an ocean and run into a storm, no atheist will make it through a storm. They will convert. Like
wow.
Like when like there's a fire underneath your ass, that whole like, oh, we're space dust crap. No,
Mhm.
it doesn't. You will be praying. Like
Wow.
I got caught in a storm going down to Haiti, and I was on like a 3-mast toll ship, so it's a big boat, right?
Hmm.
And I was on bow watch, and that I used to do it because I was like a lazy sailor, like I just like looking out at the water and not doing
Hmm.
anything. But they were like, yo, it's too dangerous to be up on deck. Everyone has to make your way to the ship. I'm at the bow of the boat and I have to make my way to the stern in a
Oh my
storm,
gosh.
dude. It was like crazy, like that's the thing where it's like, you know, a game like Uncharted is made by nerds because it's like it's so
Hmm.
absurd. Like nerds, they haven't been on a true adventure, so like they over dramatize what's exciting. But like here, like the boat's rocking, and I'm like trying to like go with it. So I make it about halfway to the boat. The boat pitches to the port, and I fall off, right, and I don't have my safety line
Oh
attached,
my
right.
gosh.
So it's literally like a movie. I'm like scrambling, like trying to grab onto stuff, and I'm sliding down towards the water, right? And no one's gonna see me go overboard.
Holy
So
crap.
I'm like scrambling, and I flip over onto my backsliding, thinking that I could stop myself with my heels. But when I flip over, I used to wear these like kind of Hot Topic wristbands. One of them got snagged on one of the like hooks, like one of the holdings,
Uh-huh.
and it like snagged me long enough for me to stop sliding and then get my safety line on. So
Whoa.
after that, I was like dude, that was like a miracle.
Holy
Um
crap.
it all right, like even today, I have like the best day ever, right? Like
Hmm.
I go out with this woman to the beach. We're like walking around, having like the whole romantic chat and everything. We get back to hers, and my chain is like missing, like the chain my grandma gave to me.
Hmm.
And I'm like distraught. Like I swear to God, I caught the flu because I lost this chain, like from grief. Um I'm like sitting down, like just being miserable. And then today I get a text from one of my mates, and he was like, yo, I was walking around and I actually found your chain. And
Oh
I was like,
wow.
you're like, dude, I've been praying for this for like ever since I lost it. Like, dude, like, Lord, just please give me my chain back. Like that because like I can't be in church all the time. Like I feel like that's my connection to
Yeah.
Christ is like my chain. Because if I'm
Wow.
wearing that, like I have his like protection. So like for that to get returned to me when like I lost it on a beach, like there's sand blowing everywhere because it's winter. Like it should just be buried somewhere.
Yeah, like some
And
pot-bellied boomer with a metal detector would have picked it up.
yeah, yeah. And then like for one of my close friends to find it was like just insane.
That is
So
incredible.
yeah, yeah.
So do you consider yourself part of any particular denomination or
I
how
was
would you
raised
describe that?
yeah, I was raised Anglican.
Oh, okay. So was I originally.
Yeah, my dad is like he's a way more hardcore Christian. Like they had a gay wedding at his church, and he didn't know they were doing the gay wedding. So when it happened, he like stood up and walked out and like hasn't been back to that church.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. So I go back to the church there because I got a lot of friends there,
yeah.
as well as like people want to check up on me and stuff. But like I can't say that I'm practicing any denomination like I
Okay.
should.
Yeah.
So, but like if I had to fill out a sheet, it'd probably be Anglican.
Okay. Are there any Orthodox churches on Bermuda that you know
Oh
of?
yeah,
Oh,
Bermuda has
okay.
the most churches, bars, forts, and golf courses per square mile in the world.
Oh,
So
nice.
like,
Okay, so if I visit, there
yeah,
should be an Orthodox church within walking distance that I'd be able to take communion in.
yeah,
Okay, good to know.
yeah, yeah. They sort you out, and then like,
Nice.
yeah, I think like it's really funny coming from like a pretty religious society too. Like
Hmm.
going to a place that's like more secular, like the States. Like I would get like outrageously offended by like certain things. But like
Hmm.
at first, like my friends thought I was just being like a dickhead, so they get like really cross with me. But
Right.
then, as you know, they get to know me more and like they understand like how I am culturally and stuff. They it would always be funny because like I I would be like visibly shocked when I
Hmm.
saw like two guys holding hands. Like, look, I what people do in their private time is got nothing to do with me. But like, dude, I'm genuinely not used to seeing stuff like that. Like, Bermuda's the only place to have like legalized gay marriage and then made it illegal again. So
Really?
like, Yeah, like they're very hardcore fundamentalist Christian here.
Wow.
So
I would not have known that. Huh.
and what's like a pretty unique experience too is since we're a first world country, we have a great education system. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's really funny because you get like some tourists who are like they try to be edgy about it, but someone overhears them and like gives them like such a good talking to. Like I think we have some really, really smart Christians on the island. And I'm happy to share the island with them because like
Mm-hmm.
if I find myself lost on a concept, like I'll just talk to the bishop, the Anglican bishop here, and
Nice.
that guy's like the wisest guy I know. Like,
Oh,
geez.
nice. Oh, got a question from where is it? Art Tech again. He asks, or they ask, how long have you been drawing?
All right. So I was a delinquent in high school. I used to like drawing, but like I would just like doodle and stuff. I never really took it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And they had like a meeting with me and my parents being like, yo, what are you gonna do in your life and everything? So I kind of went to art school just to like get everyone off my back.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like 2015 that I really got serious about it.
Mm-hmm.
Where I was like, you know, how far could I push this? So I
Right.
like to say I've been seriously drawing since 2015, but like literally drawing, I'd say my whole life.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I only started drawing, like really drawing, until I was like maybe 16 or 17. So it was a little late in the game for me. But
Yeah.
back to like, I mean, listening to a lot of your stories, like I had no idea about that 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 experience on the boat that you had. Like, I think that explains a lot more now. Like what I really liked about your art, like your art kind of has it has the energy of somebody who's been punched in the face or taken a punch to the face, you know. And
I,
I think that's what we both appreciate in guys like Gene Wolfe, where there's a sense of, I don't know, a certain sort of vital something that I can never put into words, but it's there. You know it when you see it or when you feel it,
yeah.
but it's hard to put your finger on. And your work has that.
What's really funny is I actually haven't been punched in my face despite like how rambunctious I act.
Really,
I
man, after all the
dude,
benders you've had?
dude, I that's why I'm religious. Is literally my excuse is every time I have been in like altercations, but I'm pretty good at diffusing them. Like a lot of times I'm like, dude, like I'm ugly enough. You hit me, like it all goes. And like that's funny enough to where like people who didn't really get mad with me. Like in the army, I had like I've had people grip me and like threaten to punch me, but I've been like, really, guy, like I I would genuinely say the two things that preserve me is one, I'm 6 foot and about like 180 pounds, right?
Oh, okay, you're
So
about the
like
same as me.
yeah, so like I feel like I'm slightly big enough to where when people size me up, they're like, I don't know if I'm gonna just like beat up this guy scot free.
Yeah.
So like I think it might be that. And then two is even though I have like crazy benders, like I'm a fun drunk. Like I don't like if I do anything crazy, it's like I don't know, funny crazy stuff. Like
Yeah.
I jumped off a roof once. That's like a notorious Miles Bender.
Yeah.
Like
We're starting to come up close to an hour here, so I'll start winding us
uh
down. But this is the one question I was going to corner you on. So I saw your photos
yeah,
from Bali. I know that you were
yeah.
really visiting Agatha. So tell us, where is the door to Hollow Earth out in the Atlantic?
Yo, genuinely behind waterfalls. Behind
Really?
waterfalls is the waviest stuff. Like, yo, I genuinely think that like Hollow Earth might make some sense. Like,
Yeah.
it's see the trippiest shit. Like, I actually get so hyped on this. Like, the trippiest shit is like the
Do
more
you
you
believe in it?
travel.
Do you think Atlantis was real too?
Yeah, Atlantis was definitely
Yeah,
real.
I
Like
agree.
modern history as we know it is only like 200 years old. Like recorded history.
Mm-hmm.
So like as soon as you go past 200 years, anything goes because like people weren't recording it properly. So like
Right.
I genuinely think the past and how like modern people interpret it is completely wrong. Like
Mm.
the more you travel, the more you speak to people, like I like a lot of the crazier theories that were like a write-off slowly like make a lot more sense. Like gosh, I might get a lot of booze from this one, but like I got a friend who's like a serious flat earther, right? And
Oh,
like
nice. I have one flat Earth friend too.
dude, they're gems. Like they're truly magical.
They're
Like
unicorns.
Yeah, right. So your boy was like breaking it down for me, and I'm here flying like from Qatar back to the U.S. and I'm looking at the flight map, and I'm like, yo, if the world was round, why are we taking this route? Like that made sense. I was like, that is kind of suspect. Like I was like, I'm no expert, but like I see where your voice coming from. Like I was
Right.
genuinely like, oh shit, like
I do think that, yeah, I do think Atlantis was real. There's probably some pyramids or tropical region in Antarctica that's being hidden from us. There's probably some crazy stuff under the ice there. Definitely.
oh yeah.
We'll
Oh
have
yeah,
to, like, I would love to do another show with you, like just going like full on like Graham Hancock levels of weird history
oh
theory
dude,
and stuff like that, more
I'm
adventures
got
and
you.
whatnot. Yeah, we'll definitely
Like
have to do that. But
I think thanks so much for having me on your show. Like I wish I could have kept a more focused show, but
oh no no no,
I'd
dude,
rather
this is perfect. Like focus when we need it. But
yeah.
hey, so I'm including your links in the show info down below. But where can people find you online?
So the Count of S on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's pretty easy to find me on Twitter. Miles WCD on Instagram. Like if you just want like my art and like some my inspirations and ramblings to Twitter. If you're interested in me as a person, the Instagram.
Yeah,
But like
I
if you
was check out the Instagram. Your handsome mug is a lot more easy to spot there. So if ladies, if you want to get some more physique posts from him, check out the Instagram.
yeah, dude, it's oh dude, it's a riot. Like genuinely, I think one thing I like about Twitter, which is like cracks me up, is despite how
Mhm.
I act on Twitter, I actually have my mom on Twitter. She doesn't follow much people, so she sees everything I do.
Oh
So like
wow.
I haven't brought it up because I think it's gonna be a really funny conversation. But Christmas dinner's around the corner, so like I feel like it's inevitable.
Oh
So
sweet. Yeah, keep me posted on those stories. All right, folks. I think I'm going to wrap us up here since we're coming up on the hour mark. But I want to say thank you so much to Miles for joining me today. I'm going to try and
thank
make
you,
shows
Reagan.
like this a little bit more of a regular thing as we go into 2020. Yeah, Miles, it's been great having you with us, and I'm
Thank you,
definitely going to
man.
have you on again because like I feel like we only touched the tip of the iceberg here.
Yeah, I'd love to be on again. Thank you so much. This has been a wonderful experience.
Awesome,
Uh,
man. All right. All right, that's it.
thank
Thanks
you.
for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you around next time.
All right, take care. Have a good one.